This week, the Labour Party is in turmoil over the anti-Semitism crisis that is dominating the news headlines and is also threatening to overshadow Labour's election chances in the important London mayoral and local elections throughout the country. Is there something more sinister going on regarding the growing alliance between the hard left and the Islamists united in their hatred of Israel? Since the election of Jeremy Corbyn to the leadership of the Labour Party, the hard left has taken control of the party, and what we're seeing is the manifestation of Jew hatred within the party. Their utter contempt for the nation of Israel and Zionism has now crossed that red line into anti-Semitism. As the news reported that Naz Shah MP for Bradford West had to resign from a position as advisor to the Shadow Chancellor, John McDonnell, and is now suspended from the Labour Party for comments she posted on Facebook back in 2014. She posted a picture that showed the outline of Israel superimposed on a map of the US under the headline "Solution for Israel-Palestine Conflict, Relocate Israel into the United States." She also compared Israel's policies to that of Hitler. The new Israeli ambassador to the UK, Mark Regev, said in response to the controversy surrounding Naz Shah MP, "What is needed is a willingness to make peace with Israel and not a delusional fantasies about a Middle East without Israel." The anti-Semitism crisis escalated over the bank holiday weekend as Ken Livingstone, the former mayor of London, in a radio interview with BBC London said, "Let's remember, Hitler was elected in 1932. His policy was then that the Jews should be moved to Israel. He was supporting Zionism, and that was before he went mad and ended up killing 6 million Jews." Ken Livingstone claims that Hitler was supporting Zionism and anti-Semitism is not racism.
Joining me on the line, Ken Livingstone, former mayor of London. Ken, good morning to you.
Hi there.
Hope you're well.
Yes.
I mean,
nice
you will have seen yourself written about in the Telegraph today. It's their editorial. It says, others are furious about the conduct of Mr Corbyn's friend and ally, Ken Livingstone, who said Naz Shah's comments were not anti-Semitic. Now, she's profusely apologised for them, said she made a mistake. If she's apologised for them, presumably she acknowledges that they were anti-Semitic. Do you still maintain they were not?
No, she's a deep critic of Israel and its policies. Her remarks were over the top. But she's not anti-Semitic. I've been in the Labour Party for 47 years. I've never heard anyone say anything anti-Semitic. I've had a lot of criticism of the state of Israel and its abuse of the Palestinians, but I've never heard someone be anti-Semitic.
She talked about relocating Israel to America. She talked about what Hitler did being legal. And she talked about the Jews rallying, and she used the word Jews, not Israelis or Israel. You didn't find that to be anti-Semitic?
No, it's completely over the top. It's not anti-Semitic. I mean, let's remember, when Hitler won his election in 1932, his policy then was that Jews should be moved to Israel. He was supporting Zionism. His boy went mad and ended up killing 6 million Jews.
The Chief Rabbi Ephraim Marvis has responded to the sickening comments made by Ken Livingstone in an article in the Telegraph, in which he defined Zionism. Zionism is the belief in the right to the Jewish self-determination in a land that has been at the centre of the Jewish world for more than 3,000 years. One can no more separate it from Judaism than separate the City of London from Great Britain. Directly after Ken Livingstone's radio interview, he was confronted by John Mann MP, who heads up the all-parliamentary group on anti-Semitism, and he had the bravery and the courage to confront Livingstone. Now, if the leadership of the party is serious about confronting Jew hatred within the Labour Party, it needs to expel Livingstone rather than suspend him from the party.
You know nothing about it. You know nothing about what Hitler did in 1932. Dachau concentration camp in his first 50 days. The race purity laws in his first 100 days. And you dare say that Hitler supported Zionism. You've lost it, mate. You need help. You need help. You need help. You need help. Factually wrong. No, factually wrong. Racist remarks.
Go and check your history.
Check my history.
That was the policy they ran on in 32.
His
view was to deport all the Jews of Germany to Israel.
You have lost it.
Is it true or not?
You have lost it. You read the Nazi policy.
Yes.
You read Mein Kampf.
Yes.
What did Mein Kampf say about Zionism?
I mean,
What did Mein Kampf say about Zionism?
Hitler's a mad anti-Zionist. He wanted to kill all Jews. But his policy in 1932, when he won that election, was to deport Germany's Jews to Israel. And the Zionist movement had secret meetings with this administration talking about that.
In response to the anti-Semitic row within the Labour Party, their sister party in Israel and its leader, Isaac Herzog, said that he was reconsidering ties with the British Labour Party. Israeli Labour member of Knesset, Naz Shah, went further and said there is a toxic atmosphere of hatred and fanaticism in British Labour, and consequently is no longer a sister party which we can have a close relations and coordinate policy. There's a real danger for the Labour Party now that the anti-Semitism crisis is escalating, in that they are damaging the party's reputation and standing abroad, especially now their sister party in Israel is seriously thinking about ending their association with the British Labour Party. Now, according to a story in the Daily Mail, the genocidal terrorist organisation Hamas has praised Jeremy Corbyn as the spokesman for Hamas said that we consider the statements of the Labour leader to be an important message to the people in Western countries that Hamas is not and will not be considered a terrorist group, and our struggle is to reduce the borders of occupied Palestine. If it's Jeremy Corbyn's intention of winning the support from a genocidal terrorist organisation that is committed to Israel's destruction and the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people worldwide stated in their covenant charter, then he has succeeded. Hamas has been responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Israelis through acts of suicide bombings on buses and restaurants, also responsible for firing thousands of rockets and missiles into Israel. Hamas has also brought a reign of terror and fear upon the people of Gaza. Now I, like Jeremy, want to see Gaza free, but free of Hamas. The unholy alliance of the hard left and Islamism comes from the left's hatred of Britain's colonial past and see Israel as a Western colonial state in the heart of the Middle East that is suppressing the Palestinians. The Islamists want to see Israel destroyed and replaced by an Islamist government implementing Sharia law. This is where the hard left are united with the Islamists in their hatred of Israel, and these ideas are creating the rise of Jew hatred in the Labour Party. The leadership of the Labour Party would do well to read the words of Jesus in Luke chapter 8 verse 17. For nothing is sacred that will not be revealed, nor anything hidden that will not be known and come to the light.